welcome everybody back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed that sewing buzz from Sunday. I showed my little bit of a haul, very small, and then shared new pattern releases, as well as the S&D sewing chat with Meg from Cooking and Crafting over on Instagram. So if you did not catch that, Meg and I chatted, so go check out the chat. But we also collaborated on this dress, of course, the Cashmerette Roseclair. And so make sure that you, and I will pop up a picture here, make sure you go check out Meg. She did actually two blog posts about it, and I will link to her blog down in the description box, and I'll link to her Instagram also down in the description box. Go show Meg some love. Many of you may already be following her, but yeah, this was a fun collaboration that we both wanted to do. And so per usual, after I do my collaborations, I come in with a full review, and so that's what this video is today. So welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, I upload every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 a.m. and on the 1st of the month. This time the 1st of the month happens to fall on a normal upload day, and so you saw that video over on Sunday, and if you did not, make sure you go check it out, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to thumbs up this video and share it out as well. I would greatly appreciate it. So this one is going to be a thorough review. So grab your beverage of choice, pull up a chair, take some notes, all that good stuff. You already know how I do when I'm coming in with a pattern review. So first things first, for those who are new to my channel, I have been sewing with Cashmerette. Once I discovered a pattern company like Cashmerette that caters to more curvy bodies, plus size, all of that, I have always had success with Cashmerette patterns. Many of you already know that, or I don't have to worry about doing full bust adjustments, stuff like that. I also have a full playlist. I will leave that up here in the iCards, and I'll leave a link to it in the description box as well. I have a full playlist. If you are looking to purchase Cashmerette patterns, I have a playlist of, I've made, I would say 80 to 90%, and maybe 80% of her patterns. I think I could be, yeah, maybe around that. And I have sew-alongs for several of them. So the Concord t-shirt, the Upton, as well as the Turner, I have sew-alongs on the channel for already. So again, I'll link to the sew-along playlist and leave that up in the iCard as well. So very familiar. I say all that just so people have a little bit of history on a couple of things I'll be explaining as I go through this particular pattern. So as you all know, the Roseclair just dropped. Is now August. I believe it was June, or was it July? I can't remember. June or July it dropped. No, June, I'm sorry. It dropped in June. And so I knew right away that I wanted it, and so yeah, went ahead and picked it up. Let me start out by saying my faux pas with picking it up, and it all worked out. Because I've been sewing with Cashmerette for so long. Cashmerette, for those who don't know, she has cup sizes that go up to an H cup, and her sizing goes up to, initially it was from 12 to 30, now it's 12 to 32, but some of her patterns now start at a size 0 to 16. And so the Roseclair now comes in a size 0 to 16 or a size 12 to 32. So definitely broad range, definitely size inclusive up to an H cup. And so yeah, very good sizing and all of that. Now I say that to say because I have so many Cashmerette patterns, right? When I went to order the pattern, I just went on, because I wanted a paper pattern. I just went on and just clicked ordered, and that was it. It came in the mail. I looked at it. I was like, okay, it's here. I put it, you know, away until I would talk about it in my haul, everything like that. When, and I knew that Meg and I would be collaborating. Well, not until I was ready, because I knew I was going to trace it because it is paper pattern. I did trace. Only thing I traced were all of the bodice pieces, just so you know. I traced all of the bottom pieces. I didn't trace, and I say this about tracing, I didn't trace these rectangles of the pattern because I can easily redraw a rectangle if I really needed to. So I didn't retrace the rectangle. I just cut the pattern piece, but the bodice, the sleeves, all that was traced. And so when I'm getting ready to work on a project, you guys, guess what? I had the wrong size. I always get, well, I'm used to it, right? Getting size 12 through 32. And I was like, okay, you know, that's what I thought I had. When I looked at it, guess what pattern I had? Size 0 to 16. And I panicked when I finally looked at the size on the front of the envelope. I'm thinking, I can't fit this. And I just laughed at myself. And I was mad at myself because I was thinking, will this affect our collaboration? But once I looked at the body measurements for a full bust go from, in this C cup through H cup, starts from a 33 and goes up to a 44, right? And then the high bust goes from a 30 to a 41. And so, and if I remember, I'll pop the sizing here on the screen so at least you can see. And so I was initially concerned, but then when I looked at the full garment measurements, because there is some ease, like 3 to 4 inches of ease, I was like, okay, maybe I can look up and eat up some of that ease. I don't know. Maybe I'll take down the side seams. I don't know, because it's a 1/2 inch side seams to sew everything up. So based on all of that, I decided to, and this is why I love pattern companies like this. I don't have to worry about a full bust adjustment. I started, because her measurements for a high bust are on the pattern, and it is 39, and I'm a 39 at the top, and that's a size 14. And so I was like, I have no choice but to grade out to a 16. There's nothing else. And I'm not grading up a pattern. You guys already know I don't grade up patterns. That's not worth my personal time. So I don't believe in that, and I don't do it. And so I was like, I'm gonna make a muslin, and we're gonna see how this works. I'm gonna start at a 14, go out to a 16 for everything else. Obviously, it's going to have to be a 16. However, instead of sewing everything at a 1/2 inch, I will sew everything at a 3/8 inch, and we'll see what that does for me. So I'm going to pop in the clip here to show you what the muslin looks like. All right, everybody, here is the what I was able to do with the size 16 without adjustments other than sewing the side seams at 3/8 inch seam allowance. Yeah, your girl needs some room for sure, but is it wearable? It is, but I would need to wear a tank under this, because it's not, that's how ideally I would like it to overlap, but it's not. And as I move, it opens up, which I'm not going to show you that, but the fit is fine, actually. Again, it's here. It's up in here that definitely needs a little bit more room. So, yeah. So, as you can tell, she fit. But y'all, these girls, they need some room, didn't they? And it was not overlapping comfortably like you would see on the pattern envelope or anything like that. And I was like, ooh, yeah. So, 3/8 seam allowance, I said I'm sticking with that. The other thing I did was I lengthened the sleeve by 3 inches, because if you guys saw my horse print video, the Butterick 6757, remember how they had, how I showed you they did the sleeves and you did the casing? That's what I did for this. I was like, I'm done. I want to do all my sleeves that need ruffles or gathering like that from here on out. So I did the bias binding with the casing, ran the elastic through and turned the hem under a 1/4 inch press, 1/4 inch, and then stitched down. And then, yeah, I love that. And so yes, so that's what I did with the sleeves. And then the other thing I knew I wanted to do was play with the tiers. So and I should be popping up a picture of the pattern here. I like the length of, because I did view A with modifications. There's 3 tiers, but I like the length of view B. However, I didn't want the straight skirt. I wanted the tiers, obviously. And so I measured, because I like from my waist, I like skirts to hit me around my knee area, or right at the middle of my knee, right at my knee, somewhere around there. So for me, that's roughly 21 inches or something. So what I did was measure the top tier, middle tier, and bottom tier to figure out how would I get those to condense to 21 inches. So what I did was I took out the top skirt piece. I didn't take anything out of that. So for the middle tier, I took out 1 inch. No, I'm sorry. The middle to the second tier, I took out 2 inches. And then the final bottom tier, I took out 3 inches. So that was a total of 5 total that I took out. No, I'm sorry. I took out 8 inches out of the bottom. So it was a total of 11 inches between the bottom 2 tiers that I took out. And it was just based on how I wanted the tiers to look on me. I didn't want a maxi, but I still wanted shorter, but I wanted the tiers to kind of, you know, still look nice. And so that worked. So I took out a total of 11 inches, 8 out the bottom tier, 3 out of the middle tier. Did not touch that top tier. And so that's one of the things I did. And then the other thing that I did was I simply added to the pattern piece. All I did was, so the original pattern piece, as you saw on the clip I just showed you, this wasn't quite overlapping at all. I definitely needed some room. So all I did was draw a new curve along the pattern piece and extended it out, just so I can get this type of coverage. And as you can tell, she looks fabulous. I love it. And you guys, I have to say, blown away that I fit this. I just knew this wasn't gonna work. And again, you know, that's partly me being used to cutting everything larger and different things like that. But it worked. It absolutely worked. But you all know I'm gonna stay tuned for my series. It is coming up. I believe the Sew Over Eve dress will be the first one that I'll do, but I'm going to do a Sew Revisit series. And Sew Revisit is just me revisiting those patterns I made at 300 plus pounds versus where I am today, and just to see how they fit. And so I am pleasantly surprised and just happy that this worked. One of the other things you'll notice that I did, well, if you didn't notice, the pattern has a separate piece for this binding and for the waist ties, which this here, there's separate pattern pieces for that. So for one of the pattern piece, the interior waist tie, the let's see here. Yes, the waist ties, there's waist ties, and then there's the binding around here. I did this with the muslin. I actually, instead of using extra fabric to cut those pattern pieces, I just use bias binding. And let me just show you what I use. And I bought this from, I had this, was this some, no, I had to go get this from Joann's. But this is extra wide double fold bias tape. So there's a tip. And this pack is 3 yards. I'm sure you all know how bias binding look, right? The packaging. So this is 3 yards. And this is 1/2 inch wide, right? And so, you know, after it's all folded. And so I use that instead to go around my neckline and for my waist ties. To save fabric, and it was much easier. I found it much easier because with the waist ties, and I did do the waist ties on the muslin, which is wearable. We're just gonna have to lose a little bit more weight or wear a cami underneath before I can rock it how I want to. If I rock it now, I can just wear a cami underneath, right? And I don't have to close it as snug as it normally would cause for. I would close it looser, so the V does open more, but I'll have to just have on a cami, and that's probably more than likely what I will do. I did do the let me grab, okay, so I went and grabbed it. So the waist ties, let me find it. So this is how they look. This is how skinny they are, and the construction of the waist ties is really, really super fiddly. And you might struggle with turning these inside out. I do have a turner, but I did just order some tube turners as well. But I just found that quite fiddly, and so the bias binding worked perfect, because all I had to do was just sew down the see, all I had to do was worry about just sewing down the bias binding, right? That worked a whole lot easier. If I did mention, what gives this really nice shaping is you have the bust darts, you have the bust darts, you have waist darts in the front and in the back, and then your bodice pieces. The other thing I wanted to mention, this is how the original pattern calls for, just, you know, kind of turning it over, creating a casing, and pulling that elastic in. I like this much, much better. And I like the look of it much better too. She's pretty. And that's a different color bias binding because I ran out of binding. But anyway, love, love, love. And so, yeah, I did the bias binding on this one too. And I just like that. It was easier to sew up. Plus you save that extra bit of fabric that you don't have to cut out, because you can just use your bias binding, and that worked perfectly. And I, you know, did bias binding on the bottom. I did the same bias binding color on the bottom of this one that I have on. But yeah, I'll pop up video and pictures here, but I absolutely love it. If I make this again, this is one I can definitely see me making again, in different fabric. I didn't tell you about the fabric. Important. Do not sleep on Joann Fabrics extra wide fabric. They're 108-inch wide fabric, which is found in that quilting section. That fabric is usually used for people who do quilting in the backing of quilting, because it's so wide. Don't sleep on that for garment making. That's exactly what this is. I got that. Especially when you have stuff with a lot of tiers, depending on what they have in stock, because sometimes Joann Fabrics does not have, they have some weird patterns or whatever on the fabric. And so when I saw this solid, and y'all see this is in my favorite color. Okay, quick side note, I have decided I am going to do a whole, I don't know if you want to call it a collection. I've pulled a couple patterns. I'm going to do a separate video. Y'all, I'm doing a whole collection in my favorite color. I just have to. Anything that is purple, in the purple family. This was actually fig. It's considered the color fig. But you guys, this here, and this jewelry and everything I already had in my stash. I don't even remember where I got it from, but it just looks so good with this. But don't sleep. 108 inches wide. I purchased, so me and the lady at Joann's were trying to figure out, well, how many yards would you need? If, no, because the pattern calls for, ooh, you need quite a bit. Obviously, if you do view A at the length that it is, and you're not playing around with the tiers or anything like that, you need, let me find it real quick. Fabric requirements. You would need, for view A, it says 5 yards. If you do view A with 45 width fabric, which I guess you could, but I mean with the tiers and everything, you need 5 5/8. So yeah, we're trying to figure out how I was going off of view B, because view B, the length is, you need 3 1/8 yard, but if you do 45, you need 4 1/8. So we were trying to figure out how much I needed of 108-inch wide fabric. And I end up buying 2.5 yards. I knew I would have quite a bit left over, which I do. That's just going to be a top. It's going to be some kind of top. I already know that. And so so Yeah, that's what I did. So don't sleep on that Joann's fabric. That is some good stuff. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, nope. There are quite a few pattern pieces. There are 11 pattern pieces. Don't get overwhelmed by that. It's just, you know, you got your bodice, like I said, dismiss 2 of those 11 if you decide to use bias binding for this, the neckline, and for your waist ties. X off 2 of those pieces, and then you just have the others are the tiers, the bodice, the sleeves, that type thing. So nothing overwhelming at all. And so that is it. Again, go check out Meg's dress over on her blog post and on Instagram. Love what she did as well. If you have any questions or anything, definitely leave them down in the comment section below. If you are new to Cashmerette patterns or want to see some other, you've sewn a few and you want to see how some others, thoughts on others, go check out my playlist. I've done the trench coat, I've done the jeans, I've done the swimsuit, I've done like I said, 3 so long. So I've done quite a few, and more than once. I've done the Appleton, you know, some of the patterns I've done more than once. The Concord done more than once. I've done Springfield top more than once. You know, the Calder pants, the shorts I've actually done. So I've done quite a bit. The Saybrook, all of that. So I've done quite a bit of Cashmerette patterns. So make sure you go check out the playlist to see if you're interested in any of those, to see what the review is. But that is it. That is all I have. I am very happy and very pleased with how this turned out. I absolutely love it. This color. Oh, and let me just say, how I finished this off on the inside, I'll just add this one last thing. I did end up pinking all of the seams, the side seams, and then the tiered seams, because I was reducing the seam allowance and I knew I wouldn't have enough room to be playing with French seaming or playing with adding bias binding. But guess what? Yeah, she has her machines back. Yay! I have my serger. I have my serger and my other machine back. And soon I'll be taking my HD 3000, my Genome in. But so super happy about that. So super happy. But obviously this was done before I had a chance to pick that up. But anyway, that's all I had. I'm done rambling. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, put them down in the description box below. Stay tuned for Sunday's video. Is a fun collaboration, another collab that I have. It's like collab season. Actually have 2 coming up this month, but but anyway, stay tuned for Sunday so you can see what that is and who it is with. But thank you everybody so much again for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. You all have a blessed rest of your week, and we will see you on Sunday. Bye.